We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
A warmer from the low. Welcome to lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN family of podcasts. We've got an excellent podcast for you, as we're going to be joined in segment number 2 by a good friend of ours, Colby Marchio, who does such great work over at Better Day, along with Covers. We're going to chat with him about how he's been playing a lot of these player props, what he's taken a look at in terms of the American League, as it has been wild what we've been seeing out there with pretty much every team, aside from the Athletics and the Angels, still alive for a playoff spot. If you tilt your head and squint, the Royals are still alive for a playoff spot, so we'll be talking about that, how he's been playing some of these team totals, and so much more. Then in the final segment, I'm going to get you guys picks and analysis on every game on the betting board for this Baseball Monday as we touch them all. If you have a question, comment, segment idea, what have you for this podcast, you have one or two ways to fire those in. First one is my Twitter/X timeline at gunit_81. Keep in mind, LarsEM, name does not matter, so as per usual, please do send these into the timeline. The other way is find an Apple Podcast review. If you rate this podcast 5 stars, it's very much appreciated. From there, you're able to fire in whatever you'd like to hear on this podcast via that 5-star review. While I did not get in any Twitter/X questions, we had ourselves a fun day of baseball on Sunday. Let's take a look back at it, try to find some trends, and try to get to know these teams a little bit better.
Games from yesterday is Greg buzzing about. Here is the rowdy recap.
For the second straight George Kirby start, the Mariners lost by 17+ runs. They lose by a count of 19-2 in this one, as man. For George Kirby, not great to say the least, as the team is now lost by a count of 41-2 in his last 2 starts. For Kirby, not long for this game, gives up 6 runs over the course of 4 1/3 innings, gave up a pair of bombs as he was cranked deep by Michael Conforto, his 11th home run of the campaign. Ian Happ, that was not hapless, 22nd home run of the campaign. From there, you had Michael Rucker give up 7 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Pete Armstrong, 33rd home run of the campaign, and then you're able to get home run number 3 of the campaign for the young infielder in Pedro Ramirez. That one came very late in this game, as that one comes off of Johnny Parada, who gives up 2 runs in a 1/3 of an inning. Weston Wilson was the sacrificial lamb as the position player who gave up 3 runs in an inning of work. Jose Ferrer, 1 run allowed in 1 2/3 innings, and Edward Bizardo, a scoreless inning. Shota Imanaga was not long for this game, by the way. 2 runs, 1 of which was earned, given up in his 2 innings of work, left with a bit of an injury. Randy Arozarena takes a deep 20th home run of the campaign. Aaron Savali holds down the 4 shutout innings. Carson Kelly, position player, scoreless inning, along Caleb Theobar and Trent Thornton. The Athletics won back-to-back games, and they were actually down in this game by a count of 6-0. They stormed back for a 7-6 win. Brady Basso, the opener, not great. 3 runs allowed over the course of his inning of work as he was taken deep by Jose Altuve, 14th home run of the season. Then Isaac Paredes off of Jack Perkins, the Bolt guy, 17th home run of the season. Perkins gives up 3 runs, only 1 of which was earned in 5 innings. There was a Alberto Hernandez error that hurt him, but Scott Luis Medina, Hogan Harris, I'll give you a scoreless inning. Christian Javier, 3 runs allowed in his 4 innings of work. He was taken deep by the backup catcher Brian Servant for his 4th home run of the campaign. Then Angel De Los Santos, 3 runs allowed over the course of his 1/3 of an inning of work. Stephen Okert would then allow a solo home run to the wrong Max Muncy, 7th home run of the campaign. Gives up that 1 run in an inning. Kai Wei Tang, 5 outs out of the bullpen squirrels. AJ Buba, Josh Hader, they both under scoreless inning, but for the Astros, they go 0 of 6 with men in scoring position. The Mets are trying to play some spoiler, unable to do so on Sunday. The White Sox 2-1 winners as they find a way to be able to walk it off with Tristan Peters, a former Savannah Banana, 9th home run in the campaign off of Kodai Senga to walk it off after Noah McLean was great in this game. Gives up 1 hit and 6 shutout innings to Neil Nunez. A scoreless inning. Dan Duarte gives up a run in an inning, and then Senga got an out in the 9th inning. Then allows that home run. Sean Newcomb, 2 shutout innings. Eric Fetty whopped, does not get whopped. 4 shutout innings. Hagen Smith, 2 shutout innings. Grant Taylor, he gives up a run in the 9th inning that could have lost him the game, but he still gets a win. So yay, verily there. And how about the Kansas City Royals? They sweep the Tigers. They're now 36-30 at home. Away from home, they are 22-44. So nice split there. 11-7. The Royals are able to get the job done. Daniel Lynch gives up 2 runs in 4 1/3 innings. Mason Black, 4 runs, 3 of which were earned. And he was taken deep by Kevin McGonigal, 14th home run in the campaign. From there, John Schreiber, pair of outside the bullpen squirrels. Jose Quas gives up a run in his inning of work. Connor Thomas sent out of the bullpen scoreless, and then scoreless 8th and 9th innings from Nate Pearson and Steven Cruz. Jacob Waguespack, the opener, gives up 2 runs in 1 1/3 innings. Ty Madden 3 runs allowed in 1 2/3 innings as he gives up a home run in this one, and then your main bulk guy gives up 5 runs in 4 innings. Andrew Sears in his MLB debut as he gives up a home run of his own. Going deep for the Royals, you had John Rave get a rave for his 3rd home run of the campaign. Nick Lofton in his 6th, and then Kyle Finnegan gives up a run over the course of his inning of work. For the Miami Marlins, they fry the Washington Nationals. This by a count of 6-2 as for Jackson Kent, 3 runs allowed in 4 2/3 innings. From there, Trevor Williams gives up 2 runs in 2 1/3 innings. Max Krennic gives up a run in an inning. Jansen Junk does not live up to his name. 1 run allowed in 4 2/3 innings. Nationals, by the way, one of the guys out there in the field had one of the best home run robberies you're ever going to see. If you, like me, had the over, that was rough along the Nationals going 1 of 11 with men in scoring position. Calvin Fauché gives up a run in an inning, but Michael Peterson, great name. He had an out of the bullpen scoreless. Pete Fairbanks scoreless inning, and Jack Ralston in his MLB debut 2 shutout innings. Being able to provide a lot of shutout innings, the Tampa Bay Rays, they avoid the sweep at the hands of the Orioles 3-1 in the final. Nick Martinez, 1 hit allowed in 6 shutout innings. Cam Boozer, Kevin Kelly, Brian Baker all in his scoreless inning, and then the Wizard of Boz, Shane Boz, 5 2/3 innings. He gives up 3 runs. Grant Wolfram 4 outside the bullpen scoreless, and then you had Anthony Nunez and Cam Sanders both be able to supply a scoreless inning, being able to supply a lot of production in the 9th inning. The Phillies, they were down 4-0 going into the 9th inning. They put up a 6 spot and they walk it off with a Kyle Schwarber bomb. 6-4 the final is for Kyle Leahy. Not long for this game, but pretty solid. 4 shutout innings. From there, Luis Castillo, Justin Brule, Ryan Stanek, George Soriano all in a scoreless inning, and then O'Brien, 6 runs allowed in 2/3 of an inning, including that walk-off home run. Kudos for Sanchez, not sharp in this one. 4 runs allowed in 6 2/3 innings. Taken deep by Jose Fermin, his 6th home run of the campaign. From there, you had Tim Asa give you 4 outside the bullpen squirrels. Alex McFarland squirrels 9th inning. He picks up the W. Also being able to pick up a W and a rare over the New York Yankees. 8-3, they take down the Toronto Blue Jays. Jose Soriano, 5 runs allowed over the course of 5 innings. From there, you did have Brandon Little continue to come up little. He gives up 2 runs in an inning and was taken deep by Jazz Chisholm. Gets a Jazzy for his 18th home run of the season, and Trent Grisham off of Simeon Woods Richardson, 18th home run of the season. Woods Richardson gives up that home run in his inning work. Braden Fisher, Mason Flaherty combined for a scoreless inning, and not a lot of length here from Carlos Rodon, but it did the job. 2 runs, 1 of which was earned in 4 innings. Paul Blackburn walks the plank for 2 shutout innings. Ryan Yarbrough, 1 2/3 innings, allows a run. Brian Edrick, 4 outside the bullpen squirrels to be able to close that one out. If you like me and the over in Sunday Night Baseball, he had 22 hits and an under. 4-2, the Atlanta Braves do get the job done here. Michael Harris was able to put the final touches on this game. 21st home run in the campaign off of Aaron Ashby in the 9th. Ashby gives up that home run in his inning work. For Shane Drone, he scatters 8 hits in 5 innings. I guess you can say he clumped them, but only gives up 2 runs. Grant Anderson, unearned run, give it up in 2/3 of an inning of work. The alternate, Paul Flora outside the bullpen squirrels. Bryce Wilson squirrels inning, and Tyler Mully, he allows 1 run over the course of 5 innings. DDA Fuentes, 2 shutout innings. Dylan Lee gives up a run in 2/3 of an inning, but Racio Iglesias, 4 outside the bullpen to be able to get the save, so they polish that one off. And the Arizona Diamondbacks, they're averaging more runs per game without Ketel Marte than with them. 5-3, they take down the Cincinnati Reds. Andrew Abbott gives up 4 runs in 6 innings. From there, Lewis May, it was Mayday, give it up a run in an inning. Pierce Johnson, scoreless inning. Mitch Bratt, not long for this game. 3 runs allowed in 3 innings. How about the bullpen, though? Gerard Carrillo, 5 outside the bullpen scoreless. Taylor Clark, 4 out scoreless. And then Jonathan Loaizaga, Juan Mario, they combine for a shutout inning. Braden Clark, Kevin Ginkel, they piecemeal together the scoreless same thing to be able to get that one to the window. And 69-62 for the Diamondbacks. They're right there in the wild card hunt, along with the Slam Diego Padres, who slammed the Minnesota Twins 8-1 the final. Bailey Ober, not a bad start here. 1 run allowed in 5 innings. Was taken deep by Fernando Tatis Jr. for his 16th home run of the season. And then Tatis later on off of Taylor Rogers, 17th home run of the season. Rogers gives up a home run in his inning work. Travis Adams gives up 2 runs in an inning, including a home run to Jackson Merrill, 21st home run of the campaign. Cody Funderburk, 1 out of the bullpen. He allows 2 runs. Jeff Hoffman, 2 outs of the bullpen. He allows 2 runs. Walker Buehler, another nice start here. Does give up a home run to Brooks Lee, 20th home run of the campaign. That's all he'd allow in 6 innings. When he Peralta, 2 scoreless innings. Yuki Matsui, a scoreless inning of his own. The Dodgers completely shut out the Pittsburgh Pirates. 4-0 the final. Lake Bacher gives up a 1 run over the course of his 2 innings of work as the opener. Kerman Bolshinski, 3 runs allowed in 3 innings. And then you were able to get 3 shutout innings in long relief from Christian Curtis, so shout out to him. But for the Dodgers, Blake Snell was just on in this game. 6 shutout innings. Edgar Enriquez, Brock and Roll Stewart, Alex Vesia. They're all able to turn scoreless innings. For the Red Sox, they turn a 5-4 win in this one. They got down 3-0, but they clawed their way back. The tugboat, Mike Wilkinson, gives up 4 runs in 3 2/3 innings and was taken deep by Nick Sogard, second home run of the campaign. JT Brubaker, 1 2/3 innings, allows a run. Sam Digits, 5 outs of the bullpen scoreless, and then you did have a scoreless inning as well from one Mr. Trent Harris. And on the flip side for the Red Sox, not what Jake Bennett was looking for, but he does still find a way to fill 7 innings. 4 runs, 3 of which weren't in his 7 innings of work. He was taken deep by, don't call him Dewey Cox, as is Jonah Cox, second home run of the campaign from their scoreless innings from Teron Guerrero and Aroldis Chapman to be able to close that one out. And being able to close this one out, the Cleveland Guardians, 7-2. They take down the Colorado Rockies. For the Rockies, a Rocky start for Tomoyuki Sugano. 5 runs allowed over the course of 3 innings. From there, the bullpen honestly wasn't bad. Jimmy Erga, 2 shutout innings. Jaden Hill, scoreless inning. Mark Manfredi was able to come in for an inning. He gives up a run, and Nick Frazo, run given up in an inning, but Jordan Romano, scoreless inning, and then Foster Griffin, 2 runs allowed in 5 innings. Craig Yoho, 4 outs out of the bullpen scoreless. Tim Aaron and Logan Allen both give you a scoreless inning, and then Matt Festa, he had a fiesta, getting a pair of outs out of the bullpen scoreless. And then the Walker Texas Rangers, 5-4. They take down the LA Angels. For the Angels, this was the return of Yusei Kikuchi, and I say he sucked. 5 runs allowed over the course of 5 innings, as you had a pair of home runs. Elias Diaz, 6th home run of the campaign, and then Ezekiel Duran, 14th home run of the season. From there, Luke Murphy, Sammy Peralta, Jose Fermin, all ended scoreless inning, and Cal Quantrill gives up 6 hits in 6 innings. But for the Angels, not a lot doing here. They do not get to him at all. He does not give up a single run. From there, Peyton Gray does give up a run in 1 1/3 innings. Solo home run to Zach Neto, 22nd home run of the campaign. Tyler Alexander gives up 2 runs in a 1/3 inning, but Chase Silseth cleans up the mess and out of the bullpen scoreless, and then Jacob Latz, a scoreless inning of his own. And if you're taking a look at trend-wise, what we're getting in Major League Baseball right now, boy, have the unders been hitting here in the second half of the season. We had more overs than unders entering into the All-Star break. Now the under rate is 51.15%, 980 unders, 936 overs, and I believe we're up to 38 pushes along the way as well. Favorites on the money line hitting at 56.6%, 1080 and 828 among those 1,080 favorites. So 274 have failed to cover the run line. Last 30 days of Major League Baseball, favorites are hitting at 59%, 237 and 164, but again, among those favorites, 72 failed to cover the run line. The under rate, 54.4%, 217 unders, 182 pushes. Along the way, we have had, I believe, 10 pushes, and then over the last 7 days, under rate, 56.4%, 53 unders, 41 overs, and a push along the way. Favorites sitting at 73.6%, 67 and 24, with 22 of those favorites failing to cover the run line. So that's where we're seeing in baseball right now, and that's where we're getting trend-wise. Coming next up, if we do chat it up with our good friend Colby Marchio over there at Covers right here on the Baseball Betting Show. Myself, Greg Peterson, now a part of the VSiN Family Podcast.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
And we're back here in lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. It's always great to be joined by this man, as we've got Colby Marchio aboard. He does such great work over at Better Day, along with Covers, taking a look at this great game that we all know and love of baseball. I know that he, much like myself, also does a great job when it's in season for college basketball. I'm sure that he's trying to not focus on 100 million billion court cases because, man, that's just rough to say the least. So it's much more fun when we're able to talk about baseball. Hopefully we will be able to in 2027, but we know that in 2026 we've got some rambunctious action. Colby has been an ace on the front all season long, and you're able to follow him on Twitter/X at ColbyMBets all together. And Colby, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
Always a blast. Not to get off topic on both sports you mentioned, but we got another one to talk about. College football just gained their first NFL player. Fantastic. Okay, back to baseball.
Yep, and there will probably be many more to come, so be prepared for that. Fortunately, when it comes to baseball, we don't have a lot of guys going professional, and then they decide, oh, we're going to go back to college, but that might be coming as well. But that said, when it comes to...
I think that one I would be fine with. That one I would be fine with because, I mean, you have to go through 4... I mean, if you want to add this stuff before single A, you got to go through so many levels of minor league ball. I feel like it's more acceptable than if you went fully pro out the gate to come back.
Yeah, especially if you're only playing at the A level and you went
Yeah.
immediately from high school. I think that if you already went to college, you then tried minor league ball, then it's sort of a ship that has sailed. But yep,
Hmm.
definitely with you there. But what I am with you on as well is that there's a lot of value to be had out here in baseball. And how are you taking a look at this American League landscape where I ask you about it every single time? And the reason why I ask you about it every single time is because it continues to be about as clear as mud, and it feels like every single time we get a team or two that says, yeah, we're going to step up and provide value, they're going to be like, oh, no, thanks. I'm watching my figure.
To sum it up, even though it's such a crapshoot as I think everyone's saying the AL is, at least we're likely due for a very exciting postseason run from, I mean, even both sides. Both sides seem like they're going to be fun. I keep looking at, because you mentioned it before we hit record, about the Royals possibly in it. I'm like, what is their record? They're 11 games back of the White Sox. The fact that they're not statistically eliminated is just baffling at the moment. I'm hoping for the Rangers to start turning around. I know they're basically tied with the Astros who are playing right now, but there's so many teams you would expect to be far greater than they are, and they just have major flaws or injuries like the Rangers. They can't get Wyatt Langford up to stay on the field. He's fine right now. And you have other guys on that team like Seager, but it's wild. It's such a crapshoot, and I'm kind of here for the chaos. And then also, team I rag on, it's my favorite team. I've talked about it all day today, the Yankees. They're statistically a corpse, yet they're continuously winning games and winning series in 3 games behind the Rays, who are 3-7 in their last 10. They're not doing too great. And then the Blue Jays, oh hello, it's awesome. I love this time of the year. I love the chaos. I want nothing to feel like we're doing betting stuff. Nothing's a lock until it's over. Nothing's ever a lock. The AL East isn't a lock until it's over with.
Yep, it is not a lock whatsoever. And I mean, boy, there is not a lock in the American League other than I feel like the Rays are going to be able to make the postseason. That's about it. Like, oh, and I think that the Angels and the Athletics will not make the postseason. I feel
Whoa,
pretty,
whoa,
I
whoa,
know.
whoa. No hot takes on this show. We strictly two facts. Strictly
Yep,
facts.
I know. I'm really putting myself out there on that one, but I think that we can feel good about eliminating those teams. But past that, it's just absolutely wild. And I mean, how have you been betting this on a day in and day out basis? Because obviously, the White Sox have been a team that you've been able to find a lot of value on. And then
Mhm.
we take a look up and down the board, and every team out there in the AL West has a run differential that is like negative 35 or higher. We just saw the Astros lose a pair of games to the Athletics, and it just feels like with finding these teams, it's all about finding the hot hand. Like, I mean, the Orioles, very good example of that. The Royals, very good example of that. They've actually been very profitable for you over the last 2 or so weeks.
It's interesting, like Braves, a Little League Classic, great job promoting it. MLB, you're the best. But they're number one in the NL East. They're a corpse. They're statistically atrocious over the last 21 plus games. Their WRC plus is severely low. They're not doing anything great. I mean, it's very weird right now seeing teams that have been lifeless over the last couple weeks now turn around. I mean, the Marlins, they're hot, cold, Katy Perry, but are they in the hunt? Are they going to make the postseason? Are they going to do it? I would hope so. But I would also hope that people would show up to the games because no one shows up to those games. It's extremely tough. I mean, I'm in more in the player prop stuff, but I do write the money lines every single day. But I look at barrels. I think barrels right now is very crucial. Who's barreling the ball? Who's missing near home runs? Who's missing their boom game? And I want to be a part of guys' boom game and or their boom week, which Griffin Conine has been on a boom for what feels like 2 weeks now. Fernando Tatis been booming all week long. I was chasing him this entire weekend, except of course 2 nukes. So that's another guy who I typically don't go after Fernando Tatis because the books overprice him, and I don't feel like chasing a guy who's hasn't been as good as he was when he had that suspension. Barrels, hard contact. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for elite ratings at Batter Siphon Box. I always use that tool. I've been using it for the last 4 years. It's fantastic. It's free, folks. It's free. There is a paid sub, but the hitter ratings are free. So I use that every single day. Yeah, hard contact's my bread and butter.
Yep, and I know that Joe Adell has been one of those guys that you've been taking a look at a little bit as
Oh, good
well.
job, Greg. I forgot about Joe Adell, who had No elite rating, no strong rating. I think he's the first guy I've ever taken that didn't have any of those types of ratings in a long, long time. And I only bet it because he was crushing the baseball. Super high barrel rate, super high hard contact. Homered yesterday, did hit the double today, cashed that. It's weird. It's weird who's who's got weird underlying metrics. I love underlying metrics. Oh, this guy's supposed to be 10 times better than he is right now because his expected numbers are great. I love that stuff.
Absolutely, and Jodell setting fire to the rain as our good friend Colby Marchio doing such great work over at Covers along with Better Day joining me right here on the Baseball Betting Show. And I know that those have been a few guys that you've been taking a look at, and just how have you been trying to adapt to the second half of the season where unders have been very much reigning supreme. It has been hard to find home run hitters, and the guys that were hot towards the first half of the season have cooled off here in the second half. And you mentioned a guy like a Fernando Tatis Jr. He was a guy that had 5 home runs in the first half of the season. Here in the second half of the season, 10 plus. And I mean, it's been just wild the way that these guys have either turned things around or become a great big giant pumpkin after a great first half.
Yeah, I think the last time we talked, we had the same conversation, and since then everyone's boomed. I fully turned around, and I've been, I guess, lucking into picking guys that are on their boom week or their boom games. I've been hitting a lot more home run props. I went, I think, 11 days in a row. Humble brag. It's all in the past. It doesn't matter now. I went back-to-back days of losing days. So you take what you get, folks. That's betting. But I think it's coming around. Luckily, we do have another month, which is going to be interesting to see if we also get the normal balls back baseball, because those do matter, but they never tell us when they adjust them. So I think that definitely is part of the equation on why the runs have been down. I don't like using that talking point because we don't really know much about it. We don't get much information from baseball because baseball doesn't do a great job of what they're supposed to be doing compared to other leagues. Like, for example, the Little League Classic. But yeah, I think it'll come around. What goes around comes around. It's a roller coaster.
Yep, it certainly is, and it's just wild what we've been seeing all season long here in baseball. As Colby Marchio does such great work over at Better Day, joining me right here on the Baseball Betting Show. And I know something else that you do a lot more of this time of year is these team totals, these first 5 team totals, and sometimes you go a little bit differently on them. But how have you been gauging those? Because again, we have been seeing a lot of unders, and it feels like things have been very herky-jerky with a lot of good starting pitching, should I say, here in the second half of the season.
I've kind of been timid with them because this hasn't at least felt, I haven't checked the numbers, it hasn't felt that strong of a first 5 team total over type of season. And my friend Michael Montgomery, the Batters-Box founder, hates when I say good read on a loss. He hates that. I'm like, you got to find some sort of positive with every loss you have, even if it's just the worst bet you've ever made. We've all done it. But he hates when I say it was a close one because there was runners on, they just couldn't bring him in, there were enough chances, and then you get upset with yourself and you take the first 7 live and it cashes. Then I'm like, okay, whatever, I got my money back. It's super tough. It's a tough pill to swallow to witness that, knowing it was the right play. So I've been more timid with them, still looking for pitchers in terrible spots who have been terrible over the last couple starts. I mean, Sagano, everyone's favorite sophomore pitcher at the age of 49 years old, he was horrible today. He was somebody I was trying to fade. I wrote about it. I was nervous about taking it because the books had the team total at 3.5. Didn't really like the Guardians at 3.5 runs because, hey, it's the Guardians. I don't care where they're playing, Mars, Mexico. They're not that good statistically over the last couple months, so it was a worry, but he did give up 5+ runs. It's stuff like that. It's more of, I guess, trusting your plums, I guess, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, man, it has been an interesting landscape to say the least here, and we've talked mostly about the American League and trying to find any team that is trustworthy out there, and I want to turn it a little bit more to the National League. And do you think that there is a team that can dethrone the Dodgers this year? Because they looked a little bit mortal coming off the Trigg-Skubal trade, and Skubal honestly has not looked great here with the LA Dodgers, but we also know that this is the LA Dodgers, and, well, they won back-to-back titles, even though they had some cold streaks during the regular season the last 2 years, and they're going to be a tough act to follow.
Yeah, and I saw a tweet. It was hilarious. They posted the pitches that Skubal had over his last couple starts joining the Dodgers, and they said they're treating him like a used car, and I almost fell out of my chair. That's such a great tweet. But I don't think there is. I don't think there's any reason, if you're a Dodger fan, to be concerned about what you see in front of you, because you know your team. If you know your team, you're not concerned, because the whole front office's ideology is we don't care about the regular season, which, I mean, if you're the Dodgers, you're going to make the playoffs regardless, most likely. So I guess it doesn't matter at all for them. Only thing that matters is everyone being healthy come October, where it's the only thing that matters. Giving old Yankee vibes where championship or bust, which it should be. Look at the roster. It should be that every single year until they completely collapse. I think it's them. I don't think the Brewers have the star power offensively to stop them. They do have great pitching with Mizorowski, but is Mizorowski going to pitch 4, 5, 6 games? I don't think so. I don't think the Braves have it in them. And do not talk about Philly in front of me, because I'm sick and tired of them being the World Series darling every single year. The Cubs, I think, would be the one team that would have them shaking in their boots. But pitching, I don't think there's a team. Do not talk about the Padres. I don't like them either. There isn't a team. I don't think there is. And if somebody has a better argument, I would love to hear it, and I would love to be persuaded otherwise.
Yep, with the Padres, they have come alive with their bats. I'll give them that a little bit more.
Yes.
Second half has been much better. Jackson Merrill has been a guy, by the way, that
Yes.
has really been a
About
big
time.
part of that. So that's been nice to see, but do have some question marks there. You need to be able to get to the bullpen if you're the San Diego Padres, where that has been very rock solid, but lots of question marks there. And Kobe, I do want to leave this one a little bit open-ended as well, because it feels like every year you add a little bit of a wrinkle, you add a little bit of something to your betting. And with everything that we've been seeing in the second half, everything that we've been seeing this season, has there been a thing or two that you maybe tweaked with regards to maybe the specific bets that you place, or just a little bit in the process in general? Because this has been a highly unusual season.
Yeah, I just can't seem to get out of the negative this year, which is fine. I mean, I'm not going to be perfect every single year, but we still got a month and a half left. I'm not too worried. Looking at barrels and hard contact over their last couple of games has been something I've tweaked over the last couple of weeks, because I'm sick of the same old process. It's still the same process. It's the same every single day for the most part. It's just tweaking what I lean into more, and I've been leaning into the barreling. And have these guys been close to a boom? Have they made a ton of hard contact over the last couple of games? Has it been a couple outs, doubles, triples, balls that should have left the yard, over 100 miles an hour hit ball, exit velo? This season has been the H to the double R year. I've been leaning more into that. Some people don't like them. Everyone has their own ideology, has their own preference of betting. But if it's a decent price, it's shockingly the trends are in your favor with the H to double R, because of how much can happen. And there's a lot of misprices out there where you'll get a half on a guy who's probably at $1.50, but you're getting $1.50 for a guy that can just do it on a hit. He can walk 5 times but score a run in cash, and have a sack fly in cash for you as well. And Batters-Box does a tremendous job showing you elite rated hitters and their trends with the H to double R. And typically the 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs is normally the one you want to lean into. And if you look at the prop every single day, you need to know pricing. Like, I wouldn't pay past minus 130 pending the guy. Have I paid more? 1,000%, because it was probably like a 70% hit rate on a guy that's had an elite rating over 28 plus times or something like that. So looking into that, I think, is a good option. I mean, you get plus money on a guy at 1.5 H to double R. That's in a great spot. Matt Olson yesterday should have cashed, but he didn't. It was plus 115. I'm fine with that. Sometimes it's the price. I'm on Austin Riley to record a double and hit a home run. I got both at above 6-1. It's the price. I'm here for the price. He's been barreling the ball. Sure, he bats 8th, and he's having the worst season of his career. I thought it was a good look.
Yep, and it's all about that when it comes to betting. You're not betting teams, you're not betting players, you are betting numbers. And a good numbers man is our good friend Colby Marchio, does such tremendous work over there at Better Day. He's doing a tremendous job over there at Covers and so much more. We'll let the good people at home know it's all on tap for you and how people can follow along on social media and other platforms.
100%. Greg sums it up easily every single time. Colby MBETS, COLBYMBETS. Can't spell today. Greg already mentioned it, so go back if I misspelled anything. Covers every single day. I write out every single day. College football is on the way. I will have more of that. We'll have a lot more in store come the other season Greg and I cook at, which is college basketball, where we get to nerd out about that as well. So much coming. If you have any questions, any concerns, I'm always available. I love nerding out about baseball. We don't have enough people caring about this sport, as we see every single day. Oh, I can't wait for football. I just no one's telling you to bet it. No one's forcing you. You don't like the sport? Stop talking about it. Greg and I will do it.
Yep, exactly. And I am a stand for baseball. And then when baseball season ends, college basketball season begins.
Oh,
It's a cycle of life.
it's perfect.
I absolutely love it. Exactly.
It's perfect.
Like you get a few days of overlap between college basketball and baseball, and maybe you get like 48 or so hours off after the World Series. So it keeps you occupied all 12 months of the year, keeps me out of trouble, and keeps me motivated to find some winners. And we're always motivated to have the best podcast possible, and we always need to get the best guests like Colby. So big thanks to Colby for joining me right here on the Baseball Betting Show, now part of the Beats and Family podcast. And up next, I get you guys picks and analysis on the game on the betting board for this Baseball Monday as we touch them all.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
And we're back here in lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the Beats and Family podcast. Always great to be joined by Colby Marchio. He does such great work over at Covers. Additionally, he's doing an incredible job over at Better Day. Every single time he joins me, he lends such great insights, and he did so once again today. So a big thanks to Colby for joining me in the last segment. Now it is that time of the podcast. I give you picks and analysis on every game on the betting board for this Baseball Monday as we touch them all.
If a game is listed on the betting board, Greg has a side and a total on it, so it is time to touch them all.
Do note that, as per usual, any changes that are made to these plays will be listed up on my Twitter/X feed at gunit_81, and we are going to be going in Las Vegas rotation order. This is where we go with the National League games first in time order, then the American League games in time order, and the Interleague games. Those are going to be at the bottom. That'll keep things all nice, neat, clean, and easy. So without further ado, let's dive in on this first game of 9:51, 9:52 on the card. It is the Rockies. They are going to be on the road against the Nationals as Cade Cavalli goes for the Nats, and Ryan Feltner is on the bump for Colorado. 8.5 is the total, under is -115, the over is -105, and between +160 to +170, that number on Colorado. Seeing between -180 to -198 for the Nationals, and if you're looking to lay a run half with the Nationals, finding as good as a +120, as bad as a +110, and either way, I'm going to be willing to take a shot here on the run line. +108 or better was my buy point there, and for Cade Cavalli, he has been quite spectacular this year. 3.22 ERA, 3.31 fielding independent. He's getting over 9 strikeouts per 9 innings while giving up only about 2.6 walks per 9 innings, 0.9 home runs per 9 innings. I do think that the Rockies can get to him a little bit, even though Hunter Goodman is currently out of the fold. It is a Rockies team that's in the top 7 in the big leagues in terms of run creation, and you still do have Mickey Moniak, who's been able to give the team 19 plus home runs. He's hitting over at 260, and then you do have guys that they just find a way to move the line, like a Cole Carey is sitting at 275, Jake McCarthy, TJ Romfield, Troy Johnson. These have been guys that have been pretty solid. Now, you need more of the likes of Ezekiel Tovar and Jordan Beck, but hey, even without Hunter Goodman, I do think that there's a little bit of lethality with this lineup, and both these bullpens are in the bottom 2 in the National League in terms of ERA. Jimmy Harrigan, Nick Frazier, Juan Mejia, Jaden Hill. You just go down the list of guys that have a 5+ ERA. In a Rockies uniform, Jordan Romano has a sub-5 ERA overall for the season. Still a 5.40 ERA, and I have no faith in him whatsoever, other than Brendan Bernardino just really getting nothing whatsoever out of that Colorado Rockies bullpen. Meanwhile, for the Washington Nationals, Orlando Rebalta has not been bad in this bullpen, so I'll give a little bit of credit to Tom Cosgrove has a sub-4 ERA as well, but Trevor Williams, Jake Bird, these are just very untrustworthy guys, but I mean, you certainly have the better pitcher here with Cade Cavalli, and for the Nationals, they're dealing with all sorts of injuries right now, even though for the season, they're number 1 in terms of run creation with about 5.2 runs per game. CJ Abrams, James Wood dealing with injuries. That's not great. I will say this, though. You've had Andre Shapiro now give you about a 360 on base. Alan Lyle, 15 plus home runs. Abolemic Ortiz has actually shown a lot of promise in a small sample size in terms of being a good power hitter, and Nasim Nunez has been able to give you 40-plus stolen bases. For Ryan Felder, 1.9 home runs, 3.8 walks, allowed per 9 innings, about a 5.97 ERA, fielding dependent, relatively online with that. Bad at home, bad on the road. Do think that the Washington Nationals should be able to go out there and just dominate this game. I set the Nationals on the run line at a plus 107. Seeing above that, I'm going to be willing to lay the run line. I like the over. I set my total at a 9.1, 953, and 954 on the card. It is the Cubs. They are going to be on the road against the Diamondbacks as Merrill Kelly goes for the Snakes, and Kevin Gausman is on the bump for the Cubs. The Cubs do find themselves as the road favorite here. Going to be laying anywhere between minus 135 to minus 145. Plus 115 to plus 125. That number on Arizona total is 9. The over is minus 110 to a minus 115. Under is minus 105 to a minus 110. Between plus 115 to plus 120, by the way, if you're looking to lay a run half right now with the Chicago Cubs. And I'm going to be willing to take the money line. I set this at a minus 137, so I don't want to be going past like a minus 135 or anything like that. But I mean, for Merrill Kelly, he's just seen such a big drop-off with his swing and miss stuff. And I mean, he looked like he was maybe rounding into a little bit of better form in like early June, and then it just went straight back down the toilet bowl from there. Overall for the season, supplying a 5.37 ERA, 5.79 fielding dependent, 1.8 home runs, 4 walks per 9 innings, and again, the strikeouts per 9 rate, that is in the neighborhood about a 5.9. So just has not been able to find a way to be able to kick guys out all season long, and now he has to face off against a Cubs unit that is number 2 in all of baseball in terms of run creation. Heck, with the performance on Sunday, they might actually be able to go to number 1 when it's all said and done after the math is done, but I mean, it's a bunch at regardless. They're doing a nice job putting bat to ball. You've had Pete Armstrong give you 30-plus home runs. Top of the fold, he's giving you 380 on base. Even the guys that don't in for the world's greatest average are finding a way on. Alex Bregman, 257 average, and he's really picked it up recently. 345 on base. Michael Busch, 243 average, 350 on base. You've had a guy like an Ian Happ who's been out of the fold a little bit, but I mean, 217 average, 325 on base, 22 home runs out of him. Even Carson Kelly, 260 average, 340 on base. These guys just all find a way to be able to move line. Do have a little bit of trepidation with this Cubs bullpen. They did use Aaron Savali yesterday to really fill things when Shohei Managa could not go very far, so that helps Ryan Seferian above a 350 ERA, but they are getting Daniel Palencia off the injury list. That's big because they're still dealing with the injury to Hobie Milner and a few others. They've been without Porter Hodge for the entirety of the season, and Trent Thornton has stepped up for them in a big way. And when it comes to this Diamondbacks team, the bullpen has honestly been solid. They're kicking the tires on Dennis Santana. I'm not sure what to think there, but they DFA Paul Sewell, which is a good thing. Got the likes of Jonathan Loaiza, Juan Murillo, Braden Garcia. These have been guys that have been able to give you a sub-250 ERA. Gerard Carrillo in a small sample size has been really good as well. But again, just no faith here on Merrill Kelly. And now you're without Ketel Marte of the Marte Parte. And even without him, they've been fine with their offense. Like, they're averaging over 5 runs per game since the All-Star break. And without Ketel Marte, I would need to do the math. I'm pretty sure they're averaging over 5 runs per game. They had another nice outburst yesterday. Like, offense has been fine. Gabriel Moreno hitting above a 300 for this bunch. You got Jordan Lawler back. James McCann, both hitting above a 280. Eliarmo Vargas is moving line. They've got back a guy, Nolan Arenado, who's got 20-plus home runs this season. Corbin Carroll's right around 20 bombs. He's giving you 350 on base. So I honestly think that the lineup is going to be fine, especially against a guy in Kevin Gausman that, well, it's not been great for him recently. Yes, I believe that his teams have won 2 out of his last 10 starts going back to when he was with the Toronto Blue Jays. He has given up 3-plus runs in now 3 out of his last 5 starts. Overall for the season, 458 ERA. Now that is a 358 fielding dependent with 1.1 home runs, 2.5 walks per 9 innings, but not in good form, so I do like the over. Set by total 9.3, but for the Cubs, we'll delay up to minus 136 on the money line. 955, 956 on the card. It is the Pirates. They are going to be on the road against the Padres as Braxton Ashcraft hopes to not be a load of Ashcraft here for Pittsburgh, and Robbie Reyes has hit Pippa Ray to another start. Between even money to minus 110 is that number on the Pods, and between minus 118 to minus 105 for Pittsburgh. 7.5 is the total. Over and under anywhere between minus 105 to a minus 115, and in this case, I set the Padres at a minus 146. I do like them on the money line. This has been a Padres team that's just been really rocking and rolling. They are number 2 in the National League in terms of run creation ever since the All-Star break, averaging about 5.2 runs per game. You've got Fernando Tatis Jr. who's got 10-plus home runs since the All-Star break after he had just 5 home runs prior to the All-Star break. Jackson Merrill hitting above a 325. He went DB yesterday, above a 325 since the All-Star break, much below that before that, but he's been able to do a nice job there. You're still not getting a lot of average out of Manny Machado, but still 23-plus home runs. Xander Bogaerts, Gavin Sheets, a little bit of of a lost cause there, but Ty France has really been able to step up for this team. And for the San Diego Padres, they do continue to be a top 3 bunch with regards to bullpenning rate. Even when Casey Mize went out of the fold a few days ago, they were still solid because you got the likes of Bradley Rodriguez, Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui, Adriano Home, Mason Miller. All these guys were able to give you a sub 3.35 ERA, and then on the flip side of things, you've got a bunch of the Pittsburgh Pirates that did revamp themselves at the trade deadline with that bullpen. Luke Weaver is one of the better relievers that you're going to find in all of baseball. Not bullish on Camilo Duvall. Kirby Yates has been so-so. I'm not a fan of Gregory Soto or anything like that. And you look overall for the season, Braxton Ashcraft, 9.6 strikeouts, 2 walks per 9 innings, 3.68 ERA. Just has really struggled recently, though, as things have just been less than severe for him ever since the All-Star break. Here in the month of August, he's been able to get back into better form with a 2 ERA, but he had that 7.78 ERA in the month of July where he gave up 4+ runs in a span of 4 out of his last 5 starts, and overall 5 out of his last 10 starts, he has given up 4+ runs. So hasn't necessarily been the world's greatest form there. For our good friend, he has been doing a little bit of a better job when he has been at home rather than away from home, but it's just a case where his splits are a little bit all over the place, especially on the road. He's been giving up about 1.6 home runs per 9 innings, and for this Pirates team, they continue to be a top 6 team in terms of run creation. Getting back Oneil Cruz, he had a pair of home runs last week. He's going to be able to give this team a bit of something, and then you got a lot of guys that move the line. Yesterday was a little bit barren for them, but hey, you've got Brian Reynolds along Spencer Horwitz. Both give you at least a 360 on base. You've been able to have Nick Gonzalez, Jake Magnum have about a 300 as well. Rafael Flores is starting to regress a little bit, but still give you some on base. Esmeralda Valdez, home run every about 13 or so at bat. So I do think that you're going to be able to get some runs up on the board in this game. And for Robbie Ray, he was significantly better at home rather than away from home when he was with San Francisco, but gets ready to a ballpark here in San Diego that is very similar to that. He's just rounded in a great form. 200 runs or fewer in 4 out of his last 5 starts. After a really shaky start to the season, he's been able to be much better now. Still a 458 fielding independent because he is only getting 7.6 strikeouts per 9 innings, by far a career low from 4.4 walks per 9 innings. He's still a little bit of a fly ball pitcher, but still, this is a guy that has gone out there and has been able to supply. And you just take a look at this recent stretch that he is in, and it just feels like he's become a completely different pitcher. First few months of the season, things were very much less than tremendous, but you look ever since that June 16th start where I feel like things really came into line with him. Going back to his time with the Giants, team is 8-3 in his last 11 starts. In those last 11 starts, 1.82 ERA and 4 home runs allowed in 64 and a third innings. So with the Padres made them a sizable favorite here at a minus 146. I do like their money line. And with this total, I set mine at an 8.3. Right now, we are mostly seeing a 7.5. I'm going to be in on the over. 957, 958 on the card. It is the Reds. Yes, we're on to Cincinnati. They're on to the road to face off against the San Francisco Giants. Carson Whisenhunt is on the bump for the Giants, and Chase Burns is on the bump for the Reds. Reds are between minus 135 to minus 154. And yes, we're on to Cincinnati. Bill Belichick. And we're between plus 118 to a plus 130 is that number on San Francisco. 7 to 7.5 is the total. 7.5. Juice has under juice of minus 115, over is minus 105 on the 7, over is minus 120. The under is even money, and I did set a total here of an 8.2. I'm going to be in on the over, and I do like the Reds here. Shock, shock, surprise, surprise. Chase Burns has just really been that guy this far this season. I do think that there might be a little bit of regression on his ERA, but this is a guy that just has really been able to go out there and shove, and the swing and miss stuff has been absolutely superb. He's up over 10 strikeouts per 9 innings and really not giving up too much of the deep ball as well. Right now, he's only giving up 0.9 home runs, 3.2 walks per 9 innings. Go along with those 10.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. Again, 251 ERA, 307 fielding dependent, but man, that is very good stuff there. And for Carson Whisenhunt, yeah, 7.03 ERA. He's got nearly as many strikeouts as walks, 6.5 strikeouts at 5.6 walks per 9 innings, 564 fielding defense, so maybe he's doing for a little bit of positivity, but giving up 4+ runs in 4 out of his last 5 starts. Not a place where you want to be. Now for the Cincinnati Reds, this team is in the bottom half of the big leagues in terms of run creation, but you do have a trio of guys who have been able to supply at least 20 home runs this year. Elly De La Cruz, J.J. Bleday, along cousin Sal Stewart, and then Eugenio Suarez, right around about 18 and 19 home runs. But Suarez, Matt McClain, along with T.J. Friedel, Rodriguez out there in the outfield, you just go down the list of guys hitting a 225 or lower. Tyler Stevenson, he's now been able to give you about a 245 average, so it's been a little bit better. Dave Myers is up to about a 350 on base, but also is dropping fly balls out there in the outfield. And you've got a Reds bullpen that is currently a bottom 7 unit in terms of ERA. Lewis May has a respectable 3.54 ERA, but they gassed him up yesterday. He's going to be out of the fold for this game. TJ Antone, Brock Rolberg, these two guys have been able to give you a sub 350 ERA, but Pierce Johnson hovering right around about a 5. They get Tony Santillan off the injury list, but he's been awful. Sam Moll, Emilio Pagan, these are guys, they're not trustworthy to say the least. Flip side, you've got a Giants bullpen that's not a whole heck of a lot better. JT Brubaker was able to give you some solid innings, but that's one of their better relief pieces. They traded away so many of those pieces like Eric Miller and company at the trade deadline. Keaton Winn is on the injury list. Sam Hentges, Dylan Smith. I mean, these have been two guys that have been able to give you a sub 325 ERA, but Carson Seymour above a 5 ERA every year. Sam Martin is absolutely awful as well. And for the Giants, they're starting to get gassed up a little bit more with their offense. Rafael Devers, 24 plus home runs. Willie Adames between 19 to 20 home runs. Adames still below a 300 on base, but hey, giving you some power. Or Osvaldo Bosby, he's a young guy with some upside, but he's been inconsistent as he and Victor Barracoto both right around about a 350 on base. So Jung-Woo Lee sitting about a 290. I do think that with these bad bullpens, you get an over, so I might tell it at 8.2. And for the Reds, I'm in on the money line, set them at a minus 146, 959, 960 on the card. It is the Rays. They're going to be on the road against the Tigers. Framber Valdez goes for the Tigres. Drew Rasmussen is going to be going for the Rays, and the Rays do find themselves as a very slim favorite here. Going to be laying with them anywhere between minus 125 to a minus 135. Meanwhile, between plus 110 to a plus 115, that number 4, Detroit, 7.5 is the total. Over and under anywhere between minus 105 to a minus 115, and I'm in on the Detroit Tigers. I set my total here at an 8.2. Now, for the Detroit Tigers, I really think that bullpen madness is back in full force for this team. You take a look at what this bullpen has been able to do ever since June 1st, and they have been a top 5 team in terms of bullpen ERA, shorten it up to July 1st, and they have actually been 6th in the big leagues in terms of bullpen ERA. You've just got all these mix and match guys that have just been able to go out there and shove now. Had a little bit of a, shall we say, rough series out there in Kansas City. Royals team that, believe it or not, they might be finding themselves back in the playoff race, but I mean, you saw the likes of Jacob McGee's pack, Ty Mann, who he threw a little bit yesterday, probably going to be out of the fold in this game. Kyle Finnegan, Tyler Holden, whole bunch of guys that right now give you a sub 350 ERA. Kenley Jansen has actually been okay for this team. He always looks great in small moments and big moments. He always chokes, but also look at the Detroit Tigers. Ever since July 1st, this team has been right atop of the American League in terms of run creation. Getting back Gleyber Torres and his 368 on base has been massive. You've got Kevin McGonigal's up to a 385 on base. Spencer Torkelson, not a lot of average, but he's hitting for 20 plus home runs. You've been able to get 24 plus home runs as well out of Dylan Dingler. Max Clark as a young prospect, he's hitting above 250. Avi Baez doesn't draw a lot of walks, but hey, he's been able to hit a little bit as well. And they pick up a guy that I've always really liked in Corey Julks. If I remember a few years ago, he had that nice outburst with the Houston Astros, so I'm feeling very good about this lineup. I think that they can get to Drew Rasmussen. Rasmussen, 301 ERA, 3 fielding dependent. He's giving up fewer than 2 walks per 9 innings, only about 1 home run allowed per 9 punch-outs per 9 innings, but is coming off of giving up a 5 spot in his last appearance. And you have had a Rays bullpen that's been a little bit up and down. They were able to get a good start out of Nick Martinez yesterday, which saved a lot of these guys. And you do have the likes of Brian Baker, Cam Boozer, Kevin Kelly, the guys that came in yesterday that were all able to fly at sub 250 ERA, but because they utilized their top 3 relievers yesterday, now you might be looking to a little bit more Tyler Wells, Garrett Clevenger of a ERA above a 350, and for the Rays, they themselves have been a top 12 team in terms of run creation away from home with about 4.6 runs per game. As Junior Caminero, he's up to 35 home runs, and he's been able to fly you with about a 365 on base. Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda, both above a 360 on base. 15 home runs for Aranda. Yandy Diaz, 19 home runs. You've been able to get some good production on Ryan Velde, hitting about a 265. Nick Fortes, Johnny DeLuca, hitting about a 265. Chandler Simpson, 35 stolen bags, 300 batting average. So I do think that you're going to get runs up on the board, especially from Valdez. Career low 7.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. He is giving up 3.5 walks per 9 innings. Has been a little bit shaky thus far this season, as that ERA is right around 4.35. Home and road splits relative equals, but I do think that with that Tigers bullpen and with that lineup, they find a way to get the job done in a game that sees some scoring. I like the over, so I tell it at 8.2, plus 109 or better, puts me in on the Tigers on the money line. 961, 962 on the card. It is the Walker Texas Rangers. They're going to be on the road against the White Sox. We do know that Kumar Rocker is going to be going for the Rangers. Looking like Jose Urquidy is going to be going for the White Sox. Initial openers, White Sox at a minus 130, plus 110, with Texas 8.5 is a total, under is minus 120. The over is even money, and I will be willing to take that over. I did set my total at an 8.8. For Kumar Rocker, he just has never been good away from home for the entirety of his career. For Kumar Rocker, just not a guy that I have a lot of faith in. 4.46 ERA, relatively equal 4.40 fielding independent, 1.3 home runs, a hair over 3 walks per 9 innings. But again, this is not just a one-year split, this is a career split for Kumar Rocker throughout his career. He's posting up an ERA of a 5.93 away from home, giving up about 1.6 home runs per 9 innings, closer to about 1.1 home runs per 9 innings with a 4.02 ERA at home. So, I mean, he's not great at home, but he's especially not great when he's away from home. And Jose Urquidy, it's been a very small sample size for him with the Chicago White Sox. Thus far, not too shabby for him. He's made a few appearances. He's worked behind openers, so you might see an opener when it's all said and done. But hey, in his 9 2/3 innings, he's right now giving up 3 runs. He's actually been able to get 11 strikeouts. His swing and miss stuff actually appears to be way up this season, so that's a big-time positive for him. He's backed up by a bullpen, by the way, that if you look since July 1st, the White Sox are 4th in the league in terms of bullpen ERA. I mean, even Jordan Hicks has now been able to supply you with a sub-3.55 ERA. Trevor Richards has been solid as a long guy. Grant Taylor, Oscar Brizabin, these are guys give you a sub-3 ERA. Hagen Smith has been really good in this bullpen. You used up Sean Newcomb as the opener yesterday, but still, like what I'm seeing there, trio of guys who would be able to give you at least 24 home runs this season as well. Colson Montgomery only gives you about a 291 on base, and then Montaka Murakami, Miguel Vargas, and Murakami between a 355 to a 360 on base. Now Murakami only hitting a 225, but hey, still moving the line there. And then Sam Antonacci about a 365 on base. Chase Meadroth hitting a 270 along with the former Savannah Banana Tristan Peters. And on the flip side for the Rangers, continues to be a bottom 10 team in terms of run creation. They've been a little bit better when they've been away from home rather than at home. And getting Corey Seager back online has been really big for the team. He's looked much better since coming off the injury list. You've got Ezekiel Duran, who's now up to 14 home runs as he and Brandon Nimmo hitting in the neighborhood about a 260 to a 270. Don't call his name. Alejandro Ozuna, when he's been out there, has been solid. We haven't seen a lot out of him. And Jock Peterson's been in and out of the fold, but 20 plus home runs out of him, about a 330 on base. Jake Berger, 19 plus home runs. He hasn't necessarily done a ton recently, but that said, I do think that this is a good spot for the White Sox to be able to get the job done here, especially against a Rangers team that has been in the bottom half in terms of bullpen ERA since June 1st. Do have Tyler Alexander with about a 355 on base, Jacob Tunis, Jacob Latz. These two guys along Chase Silseth, sub 325 ERA, but Peyton Gray is starting to regress along with Robbie Alstrom. So at that 8.5, do like the over for the White Sox. Stuff them at a minus 135 up to a minus 134 is what I'm willing to lay on the money line. 963 and 964 on the card. The Guardians are going to be on the road against the Angels. George Clausen is on the bump for the Halos, and Parker Messick for the Cleveland Guardians. Guardians are between minus 150 to minus 164 favorites. Between plus 133 to a plus 144 is that number here on Los Angeles. 8 is the total. Over and under are both at minus 110. Did set a 12 of 7.8. I do like the under, mainly because for the Angels, they're averaging well less than 4 runs per game overall since the All-Star break. Had the 18 run outburst against the Houston Astros, but this is just a team that is not hitting at home. Out of 30 big league teams, the Angels are dead last in the big leagues in terms of run creation at home. 3.57 runs per game at home compared to about 4.6 runs per game away from home. And I actually like what I've seen out of George Clausen here in his last few starts, but Parker Messick is going to be able to one-up him. For Parker Messick, 2.54 ERA with a 3.11 fielding dependent, 0.8 home runs, 2.5 walks per 9 innings, 9.2 punch-outs per 9 innings, 1 or 2 runs allowed in each out of his last 5 starts, 6 plus strikeouts in every one of those starts. And Clausen at the AAA level, honestly, was not bad considering how hard it is to pitch in the PCL. 3.74 ERA now, does have a 4.97 fielding dependent because he's had a little bit of a walks issue, and even in his 3 starts since getting promoted back up to the big league level, he has given up 8 walks over the course of now 17 innings, but has only given up 3 runs, and this is a Guardians team that is in the bottom 6 in the big leagues in terms of run creation. They're going to be coming back down from elevation, so that's going to be hurting the offense a little bit, but do have Joe Adell, who's been able to set fire to the rain. He's done a nice job being able to supply this team with, now between he and the Angels, ironically enough, has been able to give at least 18 home runs this far this season. Jason Lauder, Stephen Kwan, pair of guys with over a 360 on base. Travis Bazana's moving the line. He and Alec Genoa are both above a 330 on base. Austin Edges also had a 340 on base, but not a lot of boom outside of these guys. Nathaniel Lowe has been okay as well. And for the Guardians, still in the upper half of the big leagues in terms of bullpen ERA, but it's been a little bit up and down. Cade Smith, sub 3 ERA. That has been rock solid. Eric Sabrowski, right around about a 350 ERA. Hunter Gaddis at 330. So these guys aren't awful, but they're not amazing. Colin Holderman has been dealing with a little bit of injury as well. And then for the Angels, they actually haven't been too awful with their bullpen since the beginning of the month of June. Ever since they let go of Alek Manoah, it's been a little bit better for them. They're actually ninth in terms of bullpen ERA since July 1st, but I mean, it's hard to have any faith in these guys whatsoever. And then when you just take a look at Sammy Natera alongside Sam Bachman being on the injury list, that's rough. You do have Jose Fermin, Luke Murphy, Blake Wyman. These have been guys that have come in there, held down the fort, been able to give you a sub-4 ERA. Taylor Cicado might be able to give you a few innings as well, but do think that the Guardians go out there, get the job done. Set their money line price at a minus 163. I was willing to take pretty much even money or better with regards to run line, and right now I'm seeing a plus 105. I'm going to lay that run half at plus money, and I'm going to be in on the under, so I tell 7.8, 965, 966 on the card. It is the Minnesota Twins on the road against the Athletics as Jeffrey Springs goes for the Athletics. Zebby Matthews for the Minnesota Twins. Twins are between a minus 145 to a minus 155 favorite, and between plus 130 to a plus 135. That's your number on the Athletics, and a half is a total over and under both at minus 110. I'm actually going to take the under. I said my total at 10.1. I recognize how absolutely awful Jeffrey Springs has been thus far this season, and my gosh, has he been awful. That said, for the Minnesota Twins, their offense really seems to be slip-sliding away because Byron Buxton has been really out of the fold for this team. And when he's come back, like he's right now back in the fold for the team, he just does not look like himself. You've been able to have Cody Clemens be able to give you 20 home runs, so that's solid. And Brooks Lee is now up to 20 home runs as well. Lee is hitting about a 250. Clemens about a 240 with a 293 on base. Do have Lucas Shaw has been able to give you about a 365 on base. Ryan Jeffers has been able to move the line for you as well, but it's a lineup that just has not been the same with all the injuries of Buxton, and then you've got like Carantini at the catcher spot not giving you a whole heck of a lot. So, I mean, it's just been a little bit of a wobbly lineup, to say the least. And then for the Minnesota Twins, they've actually been really good with their bullpen recently. Since July 1st, this has been a top 8 team in terms of bullpen ERA. They revamped it with AJ Minter, Jeff Hoffman, both being able to come over at the trade deadline. Yandris Gomez in a Twins uniform, a sub-3 ERA. Andrew Morris did poop the bed a little bit in San Diego, but still a sub-350 ERA there. So they've been a little bit better on that front end. They get to face off against an Athletics team that they're without their top 3 power hitters right now. Shea Langoliers, Nick Kurtz, and Tyler Soderstrom, all currently out of the fold. Now, you do have Zach Aloff, who's been able to give you 14 home runs. He has been tremendous for this unit. He's been able to hit about a 260. And additionally, Lawrence Butler has been able to give you double finger amount of homers. He was hitting with a watch on, so that was interesting to say the least. And he's got a nice hearty 312 on base. Jeff McNeil really hasn't given you a whole heck of a lot this year, but Henry Bolte, when he's been out there, Jacob Wilson, who I'm pretty sure is injured once again, Carlos Cortez, they're in between about a 260 to 270, along with Malika Williams, but just that pop is gone for the team. Now for the Athletics, you look at the bullpen ERA since July 1st, and I'm not even kidding when I read this off. 7.13 ERA going into yesterday. Gosh, it's just not good to say the least, but it does feel like they're getting a little bit better. You still have been able to have Hogan Harris be a hero for you with a sub-350 ERA. Luis Medina has been able to give you a few okay innings and actually won the game yesterday. Yay, verily there, as you've got now Scott Blewett who's been able to give you a sub-3 ERA, so they've been able to show a little bit of upside there. For Springs, he's got an over 6 ERA. He's giving up over 2 home runs per 9 innings. He's been awful at home. He's been awful on the road, so that's a big giant issue. And for Zebby Matthews, it's not like he's been the Mona Lisa Vito of pitching himself. For Zebby Matthews, overall for the season, he's posting up a 5.12 ERA, fielding dependent right in the neighborhood of about a 5.02, 1.8 home runs per 9 innings, and he has been absolutely awful when he's been away from home. Actually, a very serviceable pitcher when he's been in Minnesota this year. When he's in Minnesota, that ERA goes all the way down to about a 3.14. He's giving up about 1.2 home runs per 9 innings. Away from home, he's giving up darn near 2.5 home runs per 9 innings with a 7.13 ERA. But again, with all the injuries, I'm going to be in on the under. And for the Athletics, plus 127 or better, I'm going to take a shot here on the money line. 967, 968 on the card. The Red Sox are going to be on the road against the Marlins, and San Diego Alcantara goes for the Marlins. Ranger Suarez is on the bum for the Red Sox. The Red Sox, who find themselves as a pretty good size favorite here, going to be laying anywhere between minus 130 to minus 142 with them, and between plus 110 to a plus 125. That number on the fish, 7.5 is the total. Under is minus 110 to a minus 120. The over is between even a minus 110, and I'm in on the Red Sox, set them at a minus 133. Now, I do have to have a little bit of trepidation here with the Red Sox because Ranger Suarez's overall season numbers are very good. 3.41 ERA, fielding dependent, hovering right around about a 3 with 0.6 home runs per 9 innings, 9 punch-outs per 9, gives up only about 2.6 walks per 9 innings, but 5 consecutive starts of 5 1/3 innings or fewer since coming off the injured list. He has given up at least 4 runs in 3 out of his last 4 starts, and for the Marlins, this is not a team that's going to be providing a lot of power hitting or anything like that. They're a bottom 6 team in terms of home runs on a per at-bat basis, but have pretty much a quartet of guys who have been able to give you at least 18 stolen bases. Need more batting average out of Jacob Marcy, but he, out of Lopez, Xavier Edwards, Asterio Ruiz have all been able to swipe bags, and for Lopez, he continues to hit above at 300. You've got Roberto Hernandez, who's now up to 19 home runs this season. You've had good production on Griffin Conine, home run every about 13 or so at-bats out of him, and getting back Augustin Ramirez, 335 on base. That's relatively solid as well. Now, for the Miami Marlins, this has been a bullpen that has just recently went straight down the toilet bowl. 27th in terms of bullpen ERA since July 1st with a hearty 5.08. You just are not getting anything whatsoever out of Pete Fairbanks. It's been a lost cause for him this far this season. Additionally, got Calvin Fauché supplying over a 4 ERA. Victor Vodnik has had a rough season. Josh Eknes, sub 2 ERA. Michael Peterson, great name. He's now got about a 3.50 ERA. He's starting to regress a little bit. And on the other end of things, for the Boston Red Sox, this team is averaging over 5.5 runs per game ever since the All-Star break. They've actually scored more runs this season away from home rather than at home. Wilson Contreras up to 26 bombs, about a 390 on base. And then Ceddanne Rafaela has been able to give you overall for the season 16 home runs. And then Wilder Abreu, he's been able to while out with 22 home runs. Both of these guys in the top 7 in the American League in terms of home runs since the All-Star break. Now you've got both of these guys give you above a 325 on base. Caleb Durbin over the last 60 days hitting above a 275. Andrew Marisserio is hitting above a 250. Masataka Yoshida, 350 on base. All these guys are doing their job. And for the Boston Red Sox this season, they have been numero uno in terms of bullpen ERA as well. They are dealing with the injury to Garrett Whitlock. That hurts you, but you still have one of the most dominant closers in all baseball in Aroldis Chapman. And then these guys like Raymond Burgos, who it's been a small sample size for him, but he, Alec Gamboa, as long guys, have been able to give you a sub-3 ERA. Teran Guerrero, Giovanni Morin, 3 ERA or better out of both of them. Whenever Zach Kelly's been out there, he's been relatively solid for the team. Greg Weissert, after a shaky start to the season, has rounded into form a little bit more as well. And for Sandy Alcantara, he continues to be a guy that does a nice job not hurting himself, about 0.9 home runs, 2.4 walks per 9 innings, but he's experiencing a career low in strikeouts, down to about 6.7 or so strikeouts per 9 innings. That's a big reason why he's got a 3.46 ERA. Do you think that the Red Sox will get the job done? We'll delay up to minus 132 on that Red Sox money line. I like the over. Somebody told it at 8.1. Wrap things up with 969, 970 on the card. The Phillies are going to be on the road against the Mariners as Logan Gilbert goes for the M's. Zach Whelan and Elon Wheeler for the Phillies. Phillies who find themselves as a favorite here of anywhere between minus 115 to a minus 123. Meanwhile, between minus 102 to a plus 110 is that number on Seattle. 6.5 is the total. Over is minus 110 to a minus 115. Under is minus 105 to a minus 110. Set the Phillies at a minus 115. At a minus 115 exactly, I would be willing to lay that. Not a hair more, but we'll go to the minus 115 as Logan Gilbert throughout his career has always been a significantly better pitcher at home rather than away from him. That is up until this season, though. I have no idea what the heck has been going on here, but for Logan Gilbert, he has actually been superb on the road, and he's had his struggles at home, which, again, Seattle is a much more pitcher-friendly ballpark than what you're going to find across the rest of baseball. For Gilbert, 9.4 strikeouts per 9 innings, but 1.2 home runs allowed per 9 innings, 335 ERA, 356 fielding independence. So, again, he's been able to do a relatively solid job, but when he's been away from home, he has given up just 2 home runs in 65 innings. He's giving up about 1.9 home runs per 9 innings at home. 401 home ERA, 249 ERA away from home, so I have no idea what's going on there. And overall for the season, Zach Wheeler has been very nice. 292 ERA, fielding independent more in the neighborhood, about a 321. He's getting 10.8 strikeouts per 9 innings, but he's been acting up a little bit more recently as he has now given up at least 4 runs in 3 out of his last 5 starts, and there's been a little bit of shakiness for him, especially in his road starts as far this season. For Zach Wheeler, right now he is posting up about a 267 ERA when he is away from home, but away from home, that does go up to about 1.2 home runs per 9 innings, and he does face off against a Mariners team that they entered in the weekend right there in the bottom 2 in terms of overall run creation. They really didn't get anything going yesterday against the Chicago Cubs, and for Cal Raleigh, he has had a home run or 2 recently, but still hitting less than a $175. It's been a lost cause for him. Randy Arozarena, 3 home runs over the weekend against the Cubs, though. 370 on base, 20 home runs. That's big. They were getting back Brendan Donovan. He was out during the weekend, though, so he's just out with injuries all throughout the season. Tom Canzone, Julio Rodriguez, both 18-plus home runs. Josh Naylor is moving the line, but he's really not giving you a whole heck of a lot of power. And then when it comes to this bullpen, you've got a bunch that has been a little bit up and down. Jose Ferrero now above a 3.50 ERA. Andres Munoz has overcome a rough start to the season. A little bit of shaky series out there in Houston last week, but Edward Bizarro, Gabe Spire, these guys have been able to give you a sub 3.75 ERA. Nick Davia has been relatively solid as well. For the Philadelphia Phillies, you also have to be on call with this bullpen because Yohan Duran, he's had a few shaky moments this year, but overall has been very good for this team. And I actually like what I'm seeing out of Jonathan Bolin. He and Brooks Boraley, a sub 3 ERA, but Orion Kirkering well above a 3.50 ERA. Jose Alvarado, he just has not been the same since the drug suspension. They kicked the tires on Caleb Killian. He's on the injury list now. Phillies bottom 3 team in the National League in terms of run creation away from home. They're much better at home, but Kyle Schwarber, 39 bombs, 360 on base, 380 on base, 26 home runs. Out of Bryce Harper, you pick up Luis Rise, who's hitting above a 300. And now the guys that were really struggling to begin the season, like Bryson Stott, he's up to a 335 on base. Trey Turner down for what? 17 home runs. He's now hitting about a 245. Heck, Alec Bombo is so disappointing to start the season. He's now hitting about a 250 as well. So I do think that the Phillies go out there, get to Logan Gilbert and get the job done. Like the over at semi-total 7.2, we'll lay up to a minus 115 on the money line. And that'll wrap things up for the Monday edition of the Baseball Betting Show. Now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. Big thanks to our good friend Colby Marchio, who does such great work over at Better Day along with Covers. He joined me in the last segment. If you do like hearing from this fine podcast, Baseball Betting Show, you're able to subscribe wherever your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. If you have a question, comment, segment idea, what have you for this podcast, do have one or two ways we offer those in. First one is my Twitter/X timeline at @unit_D1. Keep in mind, letters EM, they mean does not matter, so per usual, please do send these into the timeline. And the other way, that is via an Apple Podcast review. If you rate this podcast 5 stars, it's very much appreciated. From there, you're able to fire in whatever you'd like to hear on this podcast via that 5-star review. And I'm with you guys every single day and give you guys picks and analysis on every game every day. So I'll be back with you once again tomorrow. Thank you so much.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.